Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is going to be a reading. Have the cards here. There was a there's some messages that were coming through before starting the reading and have been on my mind, so I'll bring them up. Looks like my deck is getting worn in. Maybe I'll get another deck just in case at some point. So, one of the messages that was coming through has to do with the meaning or creation of a song. So, the song is Harpy Hair, and it's on my international songs playlist. I like the direction that it's going in right now. I might make more than one international playlist, and I would like to make other playlists too. I was thinking maybe an instrumental one, like if you're wanting to study or relax and you're just looking for the music to something, that I thought that would be cool. For this song, it was there's like a meaning behind it, and it talks about a mother and her children, and the song's like asking like where are your children, because it's like talking about maybe a mother who hides her children, or who coddles, or does something to where it seems like there's a controlling aspect. And those could be strong words. It doesn't have to be coddle. Um, it could be linked to coddling and stopping a person from doing certain things, or trying to have them do other things that maybe the mother would like. And from that result, it's kind of the children's perspective, where they grow up, and it's like to kind of be wary of those things, because there could be resentment that comes out of that. And you could take it in the direction of how you're interpreting that message. But I thought it was an interesting take on the song for sure. Because it's linking to wanting to be liberated, or having or feeling that sense of freedom, the freedom of choice, and doing the things that um, really can, like, that your soul connects to. Like if you're trying to do something in life, like a career, and maybe a person, it doesn't have to be a mother figure, like they're trying to tell you what they would want to pursue, or what they would want you to pursue. Um, and sometimes, a lot of times, your soul just knows what it wants to do, and sometimes they don't, the soul doesn't know how to do it any other way. That's how close of that, um, how strong the pursuit is, or um, what feels right for that person. Of course, you can view it when you see a person who has experienced things in life and might want to give you life advice, but there are ways that you could differentiate those things or have that discernment in those areas. And I'm looking at my laptop. I put stickers on my laptop and I was like kind of proud of myself because well, I don't usually put stickers on stuff like my car. I used to put bumper stickers on my older cars, but um the I the car that I have now, I don't really want to do that, but the stickers that it has on it are the ones that the like mechanics put on your vehicle or when you have an apartment and you have like stickers to show maybe that like you can park there or if like you're trying to open a gate. And it was interesting because I feel like, I don't know, maybe wasp energy is like linked to like insect totems or like a concept of animal totems where there's some type of connection in that way for me. Because I said on my other channel that I had a wasp in the car and I wasn't sure how it got in there either from when I was bringing the trash can back into the garage or because I left my car out outside of the garage or my parents' car outside of the garage because I'm using their car. And um, so now I park it back in the garage. But it's not the first time I've kind of experienced wasps or bees, wasps, those types of insects. Because when I was at my godmother's, there was one of the bathrooms, like for some reason there were like bees that would come in and there were no windows there. So it would I feel like it would be linked to like ventilation or something. I don't know the anatomy of the house, but you would see that on top of the ceiling. And even in one of my apartments too, I had um, like specific bee instance. I know it's like it can happen. In my old house, there was a beehive, and um, so I feel like maybe it can link to my energy. My friend who was like, well, I texted her and then I talked to her today. She had something happen to her, and I was like, this is so unusual. And us together were just like, it has to be a sign. And and she's like, I think it's a good sign. And I'm like, that cool. Like I'm happy that the that part of it is kind of not, well, I'm not saying it won't have interesting moments like that, but because the number 5 was coming up, but it was like today, it was coming up like as, was it P in my head? And I was thinking, oh my God, are my Ukrainian lessons like really taking into effect? Let me just make sure that, I mean, hopefully that's the pronunciation. It gives the spelling, and then when you click on it, you can hear it, like the Cyrillic. So it's nice. Chotiri.
Chotere.
In my head, I feel like I nailed that. Trace, Trista. Trace.
Trista.
So with the number five, it's a number of disruption because that could be like the coddling energy that you get from four because four is a number of comfort. And even today, because I met with the career advisor and financial advisor and for my course, and the career advisor was talking about like her favorite number, and she feels like it's linked to her birthday. And I'm like, my birthday number doesn't really link to my favorite number. Um, but I feel like there I want to look more into how I connect with the day that I was born. And honestly, I kind of feel that it's a specific day because I'm it's next to Putin's birthday. So I'm like it's kind of getting into the mind. Um, and I feel like it may help with the readings too, but that's me. So I pulled out the cards. The sun has been coming out a lot lately, so this is the overall energy. That's fantastic. And it seems like it is towards the end of a cycle. It's not that surprising too, energetically and based off what today is. It's near Chinese New Year. And you have the judgment here. So that's 20. And then you have the world 21. And if you're not counting the fool in the fool's journey, it's the fool's journey. So it's always in the major arcana, obviously, but it has the value of 0. So it's just saying that you're always in that cycle, but it's towards the end. And since it's major arcana, like it's a big thing in life. And I feel that it might be kind of placement too, like almost like a placement test and how you're using the knowledge and the type of thinking that or and exercises and ways that you can apply what you learned and did in life into the present because judgment is one of those things where you can link it to like a judgment day type of energy and how you were in your life. Are you satisfied with the choices that you made? The how you handled certain situations and people and um were you stricter with some things? Were you maybe forgiving? Did you forgive and move forward? Or I don't feel like there's certain energies that you don't bring into the next cycle. And I feel like the bird knows that. Like the bird can't fly if it's weighed down. And it might be finding your own strength because the world card has the trident on it. And finding again your own way. I feel like that could be an important aspect of this reading because you have two of the queens here. I feel like they could link to one person or maybe two people that have a mindset that like they're on the same page. But the heart and mind seem like it's aligned here. I I'm not saying it's a rare occurrence, but it's something that I would say it's more obvious to the eye because you see the way that you do things can reflect off of the way you feel and think about things. So there could be some clarity or some level-headedness and the same thing. And even coming up with a decision. Sometimes it's a decision that we make based off of specific circumstances, but it is a decision nonetheless that propels things forward. The obstacle is the Ten of Wands, and that might be a little bit of like what they say, like the kicker of it, where you kind of think what you're going to again keep and what you're going to move forward. Sometimes there could be a little bit of a hiatus, like there is, maybe there's like a base. Like, I don't know if this is a game in other countries, but there's a game called Manhunt in America, and I played it sometimes growing up. So it's like tag, but you have like a base to go back to. And my hometown was usually my home base, but my bedroom in my parents' house might be another base for me. It might not be the main base. Honestly, it could be like the next place that would be like the base, but this could be kind of maybe a placement or a place to store things and even store certain energies too. Because there could be a person or people, again, things in life that it feels right to have a placement holder for their energy. As if maybe you're doing something and they're doing something and not wanting, well, I feel like there's conflicting energy or like conflicting schedules to where maybe things are more linear instead of interacting. So until that time comes, it seems like energy is left there and it's almost like a void, and you could think about it like if you have a placeholder in your heart or that you feel like your soul is still connecting to them in some way. That could be another direction of it. But there does seem to be like a sorting type of energy to this. In the present, you have the Two of Cups, which is interesting because I just mentioned like parallel and or kind of linear. not exactly lines that touch, but with water, since it's the cups and cups are linked to the water um, element, it is something that maybe it's molding or taking form. So this could be pre, I'm not going to say prehistoric, but what's the word? Almost preconceived, or something is gradually taking shape. And I'm not going to say like eroding, but it's another thing that I'm thinking about right now is if you put a plant in a pot and it's outgrowing that pot and it's time for it to go in soil so that the roots could grow more freely. It kind of feels like that. So that is something because you have the world card and sometimes it can be depicted like with the world tree. But there could be an expansion because the world is also linked to expanding, or even like a graduating energy and moving into a new energy. Another energy with the world is the Five of Cups. And again, if things seem linear and not so much, um, maybe you're not really seeing it take shape, like you can't see roots that take shape unless you unearth it. It can be that time of replanting and something that has been aged that long. And a lot of times when a tree ages, it is packed with it, like if it's a healthy tree, it's packed with a lot of necessary nutrients for it, and it can grow stronger with time. There's a like an ancientness to it, and a tree has seen a lot of things happen in its lifetime if it's just experienced it, stayed in the ground or in a pot for so long. But um it is hard for a tree to grow in a pot, and there's that obvious thing. But going back to the harpy hair symbolism, where you can't, like a tree doesn't grow in a pot like that, for at least the massiveness, or the large ones that I'm thinking about, like the oaks. And when I was in the South, like in Florida for a couple of years, you would see these giant oak trees. You would see a lot of prehistoric looking things in Florida because I was in southern Florida. And um, it was almost like, because some of the birds too, they looked prehistoric. There's a lot of birds. Ferns are prehistoric plants. Reptiles, you'll see turtles walking by you, specific types of birds. Um, they had the Japanese birds, the ducks in Florida, so maybe those were gifted. I don't have to double check, but the cherry blossoms, specifically in DC, those were gifted to the US. And um, with the trees there, they just looked ancient, and they were so large. And that's the other thing too, when you're living in different areas of the world and the US, that the trees up north, they experience different life and climate. So they're they tend to not be as ginormous. And like you make all these twists and turns in, well, the area that I was in, and it's like life just keeps growing. Like it doesn't want to stop. It's like almost um just there's just such a noticeable difference. And when you move to different parts of the world, and well, the US for me, I I will be moving again, an even bigger move, but you notice certain things, like you notice the seasons. Like sometimes I would look to see, it hasn't been snowing a lot lately, but or for the areas that I lived in the past couple of years. But when I was in the DMV, I noticed that the fall and winter were a little late for how I experienced, or when I saw like nature developing in different ways. So just the things in life. I feel like there's more to the water though. And it water is can be difficult to discern because there's a lot of layers to it, and you see the ocean and you could see maybe the first couple layers maybe, but you go further down or you try to see further down and it's like pitch black. And there's such a density to it, and like massiveness and immenseness, and it's heavy. It destroys things, it's deep, it's lurking, it does all these things. Um, but it's such a mass and it takes that type of shape. There might be things with the Two of Cups of maybe that type of perception, and maybe where you're looking to, and even the types of perspectives that we have, specifically with relationships, because I feel like there could be a type of stiffness. I wouldn't go as far as saying resentfulness, um, but there's things to unearth. And I know it's like cups, but they're the mangroves, one of my favorite trees, if not my favorite tree that's in Florida. I don't know if I haven't seen it anywhere else. They're trees that grow in the water and you can see the roots. And it's nice just like to look at it. And I did have some petrified wood that I got from the lagoon that I went to, and that was like probably the most difficult thing to cut. It was so solid, even when with using like an electric handsaw. I couldn't even get like a straight cut on it. So I did like some dangerous stuff to like get the thing to cut, because I was like sitting on the wood and like trying to cut it. So I'm gonna look more into the water, but in the past, it's the Nine of Wands. I feel, because this is an energy that I feel like isn't over, because there's still like a fight into it, like the energy of like having a fight for this thing or person, but there's like the fatigue, and that could link to the linear type of a path. Like almost like it follows each other, but not exactly together at this point. Usually with linear paths, they don't exactly intersect, but I mean at some points, because you're thinking about roads and they intersect. So what am I even saying? But Um, if you're trying to get to the 10, the nines, it's tired, it might be wounded, it might be guarded, but it's not an energy that gives up. So I do feel like that overall energy too is there were a couple of the Page of Pentacles, and that is one that it's a even though it's towards the end of the major arcana cycle, that just seems like it's like a baby type of energy because the page is you have the page, knight, queen, and king for the court cards in the minor arcana, and those are those archetypes. I feel like it does link to the Five of Cups. Um, it it might link to backtracking too, and I do feel like it's linked to the present, the Two of Cups. Almost like, what am I missing to solve this puzzle? And maybe I need to train myself more to breathe underwater because I lost a couple of seconds, but there could be that transmutation. Now, you don't necessarily see, I kind of would link that to the death card, and I don't have the death card here, but I did see the death card in the last reading that I did, which is technically yesterday, but I'm still awake, so I kind of count it as the same day because there's like 72 hours in a day, for me at least. In the future, you have the Three of Pentacles, and that's an earlier minor arcana card too. Two of Cups is early minor arcana. You do get the energy of the Five here. Three and two, five. I'm not going to do like a bunch of math in my reading because that's just not who I am. But I mean, if you wanted to, you could check the numbers for that. And Three of Pentacles isn't an individual card. It's a card that kind of sets you, maybe in the workforce, it sets you in an area where you're working with another person. And that could be what the Two of Cups with working those energies out. So they aren't so linear. Because I feel like the Two of Cups is trying to find a flow and trying to find a way to intersect those energies. It's not trying to be linear. So you have, it was kind of like doing this into the future type of direction. You have the Empress card, which is definitely linked to the queens because they're all the queens in the Empress. The Nine of Swords reversed. So there's definitely something that's just either not being communicated or not being thought out, which makes sense for the Two of Cups in this reading because even though the heart and the mind are, they see eye to eye, in general, I feel like there's something that the like the things that are coming out are like shoulda, woulda, coulda type of things, or just something that wasn't addressed, or if I would have done it this way, or if it pivoted this way, what type of reaction, or I was also getting chain reaction, what would happen if the wheels turn differently, or if history wasn't that type of history. I when that comes up, I for this reading, I'm getting that maybe that's not a direction that is, I'm not saying it's not necessary, but I'm feeling like it's hitting a dead end, or honestly like a cul-de-sac type of energy. Cul-de-sac, like that. I don't know if that translates in another language like that, but it's not like you can kind of circle around to turn your car. And normally, well, you could have houses there, maybe buildings. Essentially, it's a dead end, but it's kind of a backdoor type of dead end where maybe you're like, I don't know a lot about computers, but like if you're trying to hack something and you're finding like the back door to it, you're finding like a way in without going through the front door. And it might not even be the back door either, because like if someone else is trying to protect like certain things, it might be obvious that they might try to use the back door, so you might go through like the window or like underground or something that just isn't like so obvious. So I do feel like the Queen of Swords can be at, well, in her or his element, because that could be the type of project that she or he would benefit from. Because I feel like that could be towards the realm of the air or the sword suit linked to the Queen of Swords. Also, with Two of Cups, it's the Two of Wands. And that I'm getting Jumpstart, and I was also linking that to the Nine of Wands. So there's a lot of symbology in here. Like if you're trying to jumpstart your car, you're not like throwing the whole car away. Maybe temporarily you'll jump it a couple of times, but then you'll realize that you really should get like a new battery. But once you get the new battery, hopefully something else doesn't pop up for a while because it's constant maintenance with your car. But it does seem like it's trying to work through those things. There's just a sense of honestly linked to the air, like confusion with the water. Like what's like what's up with the water? Um, just unanswered things. And sometimes maybe you're asking these things, but the person isn't there to answer those questions. Maybe you don't have a certain parts of what happened, because when you're maybe interacting with somebody else, it's not just your perspective in it. So there's different types of directions, and the Empress here, for some reason, it like is through time. And with the Empress, it is a card that honestly can link to strength too, in a way, because it embodies all of the queens. Not all the queens are here, but the Empress can represent that in this reading. And it's kind of slow progress. It's like not exactly, I for me it doesn't seem like the fastest energy, but those types of movements, it kind of is solidified. And sorry, I keep like repeating, but um and the shield and the card, it's almost like a protection. There's something that's protecting either you or the other person. Maybe the other person is, there's certain things in life that just need to be dealt with, or you need to do certain things in life, and that's what helps time move forward. Even if we're thinking about time like regular time in the world, there's also time that goes on in our own lives. And I feel like in that way we have specific power over our own time for some of the cases. And I also feel that going really deep into the water, I'm not saying the water is necessarily trying to hurt you, but certain areas there's just like a sense of wildness and vastness, almost being primordial. It's there's like an intensity and a lot going on there. So it's good to kind of extract those things little at a time, or even decipher or talk things out if you can, or um, take those steps. It doesn't feel like it's deep water. So thank you guys so much for watching. I feel like it is a good energy, especially with the sun card being there, and the sun card has the water in it. So I'll see you in another reading. Bye. Sorry, I just want to say that it can be like a balance of maybe like the elements and the sky and water and even the sun. So different things, and well, earth, you might as well put earth in there too, and spirit, that's everything. So I feel like there's a lot of trying to balance certain things out. But we'll see you in another reading. Bye.